There are some problems on the SAT that are kind of sneaky. You can solve them the way you learned in school, but that will take way too long. Remember, on the SAT we're shooting for one problem per minute on average. The best way to solve these is to find a trick. These problems are specifically set up to be hackable. The College Board also loves to make these problems involve some variation on perfect square factoring. So make sure you're rock solid on these rules. Okay, let's look at an example. So they've given us negative 2x plus 4 equals 0, and they would like us to find the value of negative 2x minus 4. Now I could just solve this for x, that wouldn't be too bad, but let's focus on a sneakier approach here. I notice these formulas are really similar, which is my hint that I can use a sneakier approach. So if I look, let's think carefully about how I can turn this top equation into what we're looking for, into the bottom equation. The difference is only the plus 4 needs to become a minus 4. How can I make a plus 4 into a minus 4? All I have to do is subtract 8 from both sides, which I'm allowed to do in algebra. So I'm going to take this top equation, I'm going to subtract 8 from both sides. On the right side over here, I get negative 8. And on the left side, remember we get 4 minus 8. These terms don't combine because they're not like terms. And I get negative 2x minus 4, which is exactly what we're looking for. So the answer is minus 8. At this point, you may be thinking, I could have just solved for x and then plugged in, which is true, you could have done that. The issue is, on harder problems, that will take way too long. Let's look at an example. For this problem, have a careful look at the factoring rules from the beginning of the video and see if you can factor the first equation. So it turns out we can factor this first equation, and it's going to factor as a perfect square, x minus 3y times x plus 3y. Okay, that's a great start. So what can we do next to be sneaky? Notice we already have x minus 3y, so we can just plug in 9 for x minus 3y. So I'll write 9 times, x plus 3y equals 81, so I've just substituted in 9. And now to get this alone, I'll just divide both sides by 9. These cancel. I get x plus 3y is equal to 9. Okay, so now maybe you're thinking, Steven, I still have two variables. This is stupid. I still have a lot of work to do. But this kind of thing will happen a lot on SAT problems. Look for another trick. So look carefully and notice that this equation is very similar to this equation. And if I add them together, which I'm always allowed to do with my equations, if I add them together, then these terms go away, which is fantastic. So I get 2x equals 18. And now I just have one boring step left. I divide both sides by 2, and I'm going to get the right answer, which is x equals 9. So that's it. Remember, math is like a sport. You're not going to get better at math by watching me do math. So below you'll find 2 worksheets in addition to a 1-page guide to the topics we covered. So have a look at those, and you'll also find videos of the worksheet problems. So make sure you give them a shot first.